Welcome back to Columbus Brick by Brick, the podcast where we uncover the people, projects, and ideas shaping the future of our city, one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Jon Styer, broker and owner of Styer Real Estate Professionals, and each week we sit down with the local leaders, business owners, and change makers who are laying the groundwork for growth here in Columbus, Ohio. Today's episode takes us deep into the legal side of real estate, a world where every transaction is built on trust, detail, and expertise. I'm joined by Sara Thorp, a powerhouse in Columbus real estate law. As the owner of Thorp Law and regional manager at Ohio Real Title, Sara brings a unique dual perspective balancing entrepreneurial attitude with operational leadership. We kick things off by exploring how she found her way into real estate law and what's kept her energized through years of growth and change. We'll talk about navigating tough transactions, managing two high-demand roles, and building a culture of excellence in both her firm and title operations. Plus, Sara opens up about mentorship, client relationships, and why strong communication is the quiet engine behind every smooth closing. So whether you're a seasoned agent, an inspiring investor, or just curious about what really goes on behind the scenes of a real estate deal, this conversation has something for you, and let's get into it. Well, Sara, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm really excited to learn about you and your story and what you're doing and everything. So if it's good with you, I'd love to jump right in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, you've built a great career at the intersection of law and leadership and real estate here in Columbus. Can you take us back to the beginning and share what first sparked your interest in real estate and how that path evolved into what you're doing today?
Yes, so I started in oil and gas, so mineral searches and title opinions, and that gave me kind of an early on appreciation for how important ownership rights are, and that kind of led me into commercial and residential title.
Yeah.
And that's where I started to build my law practice, and just kind of everything I was learning and experiencing kind of led into a natural progression of a leadership role, which is what I took at Ohio Real Title. And it just all kind of combines my love for problem solving and relationship building, and then obviously the law. So
perfect. And how long have you been with Ohio Real Title?
It'll be 2 years in January.
Perfect. And so you're regional manager at Ohio Real Title. Can you let me know what are some strategies that you've implemented to enhance operational efficiency, client satisfaction? Love to hear about what it's like being there on the daily.
So I think it's really important for communication and structure. So we have really good escrow teams in place, and then we have good communication between them, sales, and legal to really make the workflow efficient and quick for clients and prevent delays in closing. And I really emphasize like getting ahead of questions. So proactively communicating with clients and any questions, that could arise.
There's always questions, I feel like.
Yes.
Every deal is different. I can imagine you've probably, every day you think, well, now I've seen it all.
Right. Exactly. So when letting, a client know something, a problem, don't just let them know the problem. Let them know how we're going to fix this and get ahead of it. And I just think that builds client trust.
For listeners or viewers who may not know, what is the role of a title company within a real estate transaction?
So we are kind of the neutral third party. We get the contract. We start a search, a title search. We find out if there are any liens, encumbrances, any kind of issues with the title. And we collect all that information, payoffs, everything. We put it all on one settlement statement. We work with the lender. We actually get it to the closing table. And then we provide insurance to the buyer on that transaction that you now have marketable title to this property.
Yeah, which is very important
Mm-hmm.
in case you want to sell one day, or in case someone comes down the pipeline saying, hey, actually, I own that property.
Yes,
That's where the
exactly.
insurance comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Can you share a challenging real estate case you may have handled in the title world or just in real estate in general, and maybe some lessons it taught you about problem solving or resilience in business?
Yeah. So whenever I have a complicated issue, it tends to be not about legalities.
Mm-hmm.
It's handling people and their disputes and their emotions. One that I had recently was basically two brothers that were disagreeing on how the proceeds should be split. And the escrow officer was handling it in a professional, kind way, but they weren't getting anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm kind of asked to step in, and I'm just very matter of fact with how I deal with situations like that. And I basically told the brother that was kind of bullying the other, it's fine. It's fine that you don't want to agree to this. We don't really care. It's between you two.
Right.
But if you don't close today, you are in breach of contract. So it's up to you to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I think when I can kind of provide that legal knowledge in those situations, it does get a deal closed a little quicker.
So did they get it closed?
Yes.
They got it closed.
It
They
was
figured it out.
immediately they figured it out.
Well, the kick in the pants was, it's not closing today
Right.
if you don't figure this out.
Exactly. And
That's cool.
sometimes you just have to have someone say that to them.
Yeah. Is that the wildest one you've ever had, or can you
No,
think
it's just one that I can think of.
Yeah,
but
no.
it's always come down to people.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine that for the most part in title, any problem is solvable in some way,
Yes.
but personalities
Exactly.
are all different.
Yes. And how you communicate to people
Mhm.
and psychology and yeah.
I know that as like agents, sometimes we are playing like counselor more than anything. And I'm
Exactly.
sure there's some of that in your
Yes.
job as well.
100%.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So you also run your own law firm as well.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and how they play together and how you balance running your own law firm and serving in a leadership role at Ohio Real Title?
Yes. So I like that you said how they kind of work together. They do really coincide well and they benefit each other. So I can help clients, that are part of Ohio Real Title through my law firm and, vice versa. So, but really handling both and balancing them is a matter of discipline and prioritizing and delegating. So I have, employees in place that can handle the day-to-day tasks. So I can really focus more on strategy and the leadership and building the client relationships.
Which is a big important piece of it. This is a
Yes.
relationship business.
Yes.
So that's good that you're able to put that at the forefront as well, because if you were just hidden in a
Right.
back room,
Yeah. I think it's super important to get out there and meet our clients.
completely.
Mm-hmm.
I agree completely. Well, one thing in that vein a little bit that I always like to ask my guests, or often ask my guests, is about mentorship. I am a
Mhm.
huge proponent of mentorship, and I know in my side of real estate that mentorship is extremely important to growth, because when you become an agent, you got to figure it out. You're not really learning it.
Yes.
I would love to hear about your experience with mentorship, both as you
Mhm.
came up as an attorney, and how do you incorporate that now as a leader at Ohio Real Title and just in the real estate, in the legal field?
Yeah. Well, I would say that I did have help. When you first start in law, you don't know what you're doing. So you know
Right.
the law maybe, but not in a practical way. Definitely had attorneys that I could go to with my questions and they would help me solve problems. So I do believe in that now to help our future attorneys, but also I've done every part of the roles.
Yeah.
So I'm also helping the escrow officers, mentoring them how to deal with like a tricky situation, or the sales team, trying to help them with talking to a client about something. So I'm just always trying to provide ways to overcome challenges for everybody involved in title and legal.
Yeah. I think that's a great point you brought up, that you've done all the roles within the title. Was there any that you like particularly really enjoyed? And if so, why? And were there any that maybe you didn't enjoy, and what was the reason for that?
So I don't know if I should say this since I work
You
for a
should say
title
it.
company. I mean, being an escrow officer is a really hard job.
Yeah.
I think people underestimate
You're kind of on the
it.
front lines a little bit.
Yes, everything falls on them. They are talking to the clients. They have everybody coming at them. It's very stressful job.
And
Um,
the deal hinges on you being able to get all your stuff
yes,
together.
yes,
Not the only person, but an important key role.
yes. And with that high stress, you have to maintain like calmness and
Professionalism.
yes.
And yeah, people are looking to you to get it done.
Yes, and I know how hard that is.
Mhm.
So definitely being an escrow officer, I have a lot of appreciation for that role and the employees that are in it. I love being a sales representative,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. I love working with clients. I love bringing clients into title and like seeing what we have to offer and how much different that is from other companies, and that makes me excited.
Is that you think like a personality thing? Is that why you enjoy it?
I think it's right now like something new that I started kind of doing in the past couple years, and I like the challenge of it.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the challenge is what kind of brings the excitement for you.
Yes.
Yeah. And so is that something that you still focus on as in your managerial role, like growing the company?
Yes.
And that's a big piece of it.
100%.
Yeah.
A big piece of
So
it.
you still get to do the sales
Yes.
piece of it. Yeah.
Yes.
As someone who is in sales myself and
Mm-hmm.
has history, I mean, I agree that it's really fun.
Yeah.
And also like I'm such a people person
Mm-hmm.
that having the opportunity to meet new people and to talk to people, but also more than anything to help people
Yes.
is what brings me the most joy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a resource.
Right.
I want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love when I can step into something like that because I do feel like I have so much to offer, and that I'm like, it can be so different for you,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, like the bickering brothers.
Yes. Like stepping into that situation, I think I go above and beyond what's required of my role. So,
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that. But as a manager and someone who's ultimately it's your job to make sure the deals get done.
yes.
I can see that not being your direct role, but it's good that you're there and able to kind of like shine a different light onto subjects and say, look, we can all sit here and fight all day, but
Right.
do we want the deal to close?
Exactly.
Everybody usually in a transaction has the same goal.
Right.
And that's something I always try to highlight as well, as like, hey, look, we're all trying to get this done here.
Right.
So let's figure this out.
Right. I actually love that you say that because it is like we can disagree all day, but this is the way it is. So are we going to just keep wasting time, or are we going to do what we need to do to get it closed?
Right. I feel like it's so easy for egos to get in the
Exactly.
way of getting
Mhm.
transactions complete.
Yes.
And that for me is so frustrating because, let's put that aside,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, everybody wants to take care of themselves and protect themselves, but like
Mhm.
we don't need to allow our egos to get in the way of us all succeeding.
Yes. And that's when I say handling different personalities is something I have learned to handle well. And I just kind of feel like at this point in my career, I'm a little bit unshakable. Like, you're not going to say anything to me that's going to make me feel any type of way. Like, I'm just here to get the deal closed.
Yeah. Do you think that that's like something that you've grown into? Like you've built up the confidence over the years
Yes.
and
I would even
experience?
say just starting at Ohio Real Title gave me like all of this room to grow
Yeah.
into this person and put myself in more of these leadership roles.
Talk to me about that journey a little bit. I want to hear it. Like so you've been there, you said 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What was the change in you? What was your growth from when you started till now?
Well, I do think getting out into sales,
Mm-hmm.
actually working with clients on the day-to-day, it did make me more confident in
Mm-hmm.
what I had to offer because I'm not just sitting behind the desk,
Yeah.
But I also think the leadership, Ohio Real Title, they let me do, whatever I want. And nobody's like watching me because they have the confidence in me to handle it. And so that kind of makes me feel like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
So
Well, good for you. They
yeah.
look up to you, and
Yeah.
and you have internalized that a little bit.
Yes.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that I believe in building real estate businesses that are scalable and sustainable. And that's exactly what we help agents create at Styer Real Estate Professionals. If you're an agent who's ready to grow and tired of spinning your wheels, then consider this. Growth is change. At Styer Rep, we coach to your strengths, match tools to your style, and help you scale your business without burning out. And there's no fluff, there's no hang your license culture, just serious growth, real systems, and 100% commission when you cap. So head to styrrep.com/join us to start the conversation, because it's time to go from where you are to where you belong. Well, let's, in speaking about client relationships and all that, let's dive into some real day-to-day nuance of your work and how you approach those relationships and the evolving needs around that. Can you maybe discuss a time when a client's needs challenged you to think outside the box, and how did you address that?
Well, I think it's like I was saying again with personalities and learning how to communicate with people. And when there's a problem, instantly thinking, okay, what are the ways that we can solve this
Right.
instead of just this can't close?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I recently had a FERPTA issue. I don't know if you're familiar with Foreign Investment Real Property Tax
I am
Act.
somewhat, but tell us a little bit about it so we have some
But
context.
I see email exchanges, but I'm not really getting involved unless I'm asked to. And
Yeah.
I could see that a problem was starting to arise. And I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to get a call from my client. And he called me and he's like, we can't do this withholding. She cannot do the 15% and still be able to purchase her house because it was all back to back. And as he's talking, he's like, her husband is the only non-citizen. She's a U.S. citizen. And up until this point, everybody's just like, whatever, we have to do the 15% withholding. I'm like, why don't we just quit claim him off? Now she's 100% liable for the capital gains that will go to the IRS, and she's the U.S. citizen. So there's nothing to even be concerned about.
So can you give a little context on what you're talking about with the 15% and FERPTA and how that all works, just so the viewers are
So
more informed?
if a non-U.S. citizen is in title, typically it's a 15% withholding of the sale price that will be on the settlement statement and will go to the IRS. They have to work with an accountant after closing to get that back.
That's
or
a
a
chunk.
percentage of it.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not always that way. There's a lot of exceptions and different requirements. But with a husband and wife, one's a citizen, one's not, that is an easy solution.
Path
to
of
me.
least resistance.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were able to figure that out, and that all got worked out and it closed?
Yep. That day we got the quitclaim deed and it's all done.
La-di-da on our merry way.
Yeah.
Well, good. Yeah, no, I mean, that kind of outside the box thinking is so important, especially in title when, like, the expertise and just the experience, I think, of like, hey, I've been doing this long enough. I know, because I can speak for myself in real estate transactions. Eventually, you start to see patterns.
Yes.
And you may have never run into a specific problem or roadblock before, but you've seen enough and you know the patterns that, well, I know that there's a way around this.
Yes.
We can figure this out. It takes a little bit of noodling, and
yes,
there's a
it's
solution.
like even when someone calls me and they're like, I have a legal issue. It's like every fact they're telling me, I'm like, oh, it could be this, it could be that. How do we solve that? And then, finally get to the ultimate thing. And it's like, okay, well, this is what we do.
Right. And being able to do that is why people hire you.
Yeah.
Right. yeah, you can white knuckle through anything and try and figure it out. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, like, hey, we're a service and we're here to help. We're here to
Exactly.
advise and assist.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. How about a time when, well, actually, let's skip that. We're going to edit that out. So, what are the most common misconceptions that you see clients have about real estate transactions, and how do you educate them
Mm-hmm.
normally?
I would say that clients think, after it's in contract, it should be smooth sailing. I've heard from clients, I shouldn't
Wouldn't
have
that
to
be
hear
nice?
from title. Like it should just be,
Jeez.
you handle it and that's it. And it's like, that's actually where the investigation starts.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones that are going to show up the issues,
Right. It's not up
and
to you whether or not there's issues.
right.
You're just there to discover them and
Right.
then figure them out.
Exactly. And so I think by letting clients know like why we do what we do and that we're really here to protect your client. We're here to
Mm-hmm.
protect your buyer so they don't have an issue post-closing. And we're here to protect your seller so nobody's coming after them after the closing.
Right.
So
Do you think that that's something that maybe agents could do a better job of educating the consumers about, or is that something that you feel falls more on the title company as far as that education goes, or maybe a mix?
I think a mix. I think that agents should have a good understanding of what a title company does because their clients are going to have questions and they're going to go to them as their representative.
Completely. If you could give a tip to maybe a newer agent who kind of maybe knows what title does or has a broad idea, but maybe needs some help in educating clients or just giving a broad overview, what might a tip or two be that you would say to that agent?
Well, I would first just say to understand the board contract and
Mm-hmm.
where it talks about title insurance because that is where it all comes from of why we do what we do because we're providing a title policy and that's where it says the seller will pay for it, at least in Franklin County. So I think just understanding the contract, but I also think just being a bridge, between communication. I'm fine to talk to your client,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to know that you need to come to me
Right.
about that.
Right. Yeah. So just communication
Yeah.
is important
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Well, you're a busy person. What are some strategies that you employ to manage your stress and your workload and maintain any kind of work-life balance when you've got your position with Ohio Real Title, you've got your own law firm, you've got your family?
So I have not figured out work-life balance, but I also do feel like you don't have to kind of look at them as separate things. To
Mhm.
me, they kind of go together. And, obviously we work to make money to provide for our family.
Yeah.
So I just think kind of looking at it that way, if you're doing well in your career, you can do well at home and they don't have to be battling each other.
Sure.
But I also think when you get to a certain level in your career and success, you have to understand that you are going to have to be more on all the time. And that's just part of it.
Just
It's
part
a
of it.
trade-off.
Yeah. And I can say that in my experience, like, it ebbs and flows too. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, you have to
Yes.
remember the good times and the bad and vice versa so that you balance yourself and you center yourself.
Yes.
Because there's seasonality in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so, some of the months you might be just going crazy, pulling your hair out.
Mm-hmm.
And others you're like, well, it's not so bad.
Maybe.
Fair enough. Well, let's transition a little bit further back to the professional and look at how you lead and innovate within your team. In your role as a manager at Ohio Real Title,
Mm-hmm.
how do you foster a culture of excellence and accountability within your team, both at your law firm and at Ohio Real Title?
Well, I lead by example,
Mhm.
whether that's how I communicate and my responsiveness to agents. But I also think most importantly, anytime I've ever made a mistake, I own up to it. I hold myself accountable and I fix it.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's what I've taught our teams to do, like own it and let's fix it. And they may have to come to me with the solution, but they're the ones that actually take care of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because it they are holding themselves accountable,
Yeah.
but they're learning from their mistake. When they have to fix it, it won't happen again. And then I do think they feel good that they solved that problem. And I think it just, gives them a high expectation of themselves, and they hold themselves to that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the give a man a fish versus teach a man to fish.
Yes, exactly.
Provide the opportunity to figure out how to solve this for yourself.
Yes.
I'm here if you need me. However, you are capable, and you will
Yes.
grow from this experience.
And I wasn't always that way. I used to just be like, I'll do it because of, control and all that. But now I'm like, no, you can do this.
When did you change? How? Better question. How did you make that change? Because that's something that I personally struggle with, is like, I just want to do it. I just want to do it.
Right.
You can't.
You can't. And that's what I've learned also, is I don't have time to handle it. So I was almost forced to let go of a little bit of control.
And do you feel better now, or are you still working on it?
Because they figure it out, and it's great. It might not have been the exact way I would have handled it, but it's solved, and they feel good, and I didn't have to do it.
Well, that's a win for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to go back to the beginning, because you weren't always working in title, but when you got your degree, and tell me about your experience and what was the journey that led you to where you are today?
Do you mean more like my interest in why I got into real estate, or?
Yeah, I mean, well, why you got into real estate is very interesting to me, but the path you took once you became an attorney to getting into title law.
Yeah. Well, I actually started out with workers' comp and said, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And when I had the opportunity to do the oil and gas,
Uh-huh.
that's just when I started learning about ownership rights and just all the things that involves title. So it did transition well into going to a title company.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you made the right choice? You're really enjoying being in title law? And
yes. I love that it is never the same. There's a lot of problem solving. It's never boring. There's just a lot of different avenues you can take as well. So when I got into title, I didn't know, I can also start my own law firm. I can go out and get clients and bring them into title. Like, there's just so many different ways to be successful.
That's great. Well, as we start to wrap up, let's zoom out and talk a little big picture and your vision and your impact. What advice would you give somebody who is considering a career in real estate law today?
I would say to not just learn the law, to learn how to close a deal. I think any attorney can come in and say, this is the problem, but you really need to come in and know how to fix it and be the problem solver in it. And I would say to be consistent, because, you close a big deal, you have to get up the next day and do it again. You don't get to just say, I did this, I accomplished this, now I'm done.
Yeah. Consistency is of utmost importance to success, in my opinion. It's something I think about every day, and I'm preaching and talking to my agents, and just consistency is what will bring you the results.
Yes.
Yeah. You can't skip over it.
No.
It will take you down if you do.
Yeah.
I liked your point about what you said at the beginning. Can you give some examples of how to learn how to close a deal? What was the path that you took, or what maybe do you wish you would have learned on the, not just knowing the law, but actually how to operate?
Well, I think my experience with being an escrow officer and processing, like, I really learned the ins and outs, title and transactions, and just how people feel. Like, you need to be able to talk to people about the problems and how to fix them. And so many attorneys are just like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
We're not closing this deal. And it's like, that's not how it works in real estate. You have to close the deal.
Right. Yeah. Everyone's relying on the deal to close.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
do you think so? Is that like a bedside manner thing more than anything, or is that just a part of it?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think when you aren't in the nitty-gritty as an attorney, you just don't understand it all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I had that experience. It has really helped me in coming up with creative solutions.
I love that. So really the advice is operate within different roles within a title company or wherever,
Yeah.
so you could really learn the business
Yes.
and learn those patterns to get deals done.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Don't be afraid to try all these different positions. Like, you don't have to just know the law, because that's not going to get you very far.
Right. Exactly. Well, okay, perfect. Thank you. And looking back on your career so far, what impact do you hope to leave on the Columbus real estate community?
I think just raising the standard for how legal professionals serve clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, being different, like just, mentoring people like
Mm-hmm.
we talked about, to really help the future leaders make an impact and keep that going, where they're innovative, they're ethical, and they're problem solving. I
Perfect.
just want, it to keep going.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, this has been great. I really appreciate getting to learn about your story and about your ideology around managing people and handling transactions and title and all that. If our viewers or listeners are wanting to learn more or reach out to you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
By email. They
Okay.
can just always send me an email or call me. Like I
Perfect.
said, I'm very responsive.
Very responsive, right? We're still working on that work-life balance.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you very much. This has been awesome,
Yeah,
and I
thank
appreciate it.
you.
Great. Well, that's a wrap on another episode of Columbus Brick by Brick, where we shine a light on the people and ideas shaping our city from the ground up. I want to give a huge thank you to Sara Thorp for joining us today and sharing not just her legal expertise, but the heart and hustle it takes to lead in the real estate space. From the importance of mentorship to navigating high-pressure transactions, Sara offered practical wisdom and a powerful reminder that the details matter, and so do the people behind them. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with someone who's building their path in real estate or business. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Columbus Brick by Brick, and check out past episodes on our website at columbusbrickbybrick.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Columbus Brick by Brick, where every brick has a story, and we're here to tell it.